if I ask you now, what is discipline? What does it mean to be disciplined? You probably say it's the ability to stay consistent, to the ability to show up, the ability to consistently act in alignment with your long-term goals and not minding or regardless of how you feel in the short term. But a couple of days ago, I discovered a new perspective to self-discipline, which is something we are going to discuss in this episode. Hi, I'm Glorrie, and this is Becoming a Pod, a space that was created to help you evolve into your best self. What is discipline? I know that we've all heard this whole definition of discipline: showing up every day, clearing off your tasks. Yes, it's valid 100%. In my opinion, the foundation of discipline is self-trust. When you trust yourself, there are certain things that you would not do. There are certain things that you would do so as not to disappoint yourself. For me, discipline is self-trust, which I realized in my conversation and while scrolling. We all have these two driving forces. When we wake up every day, there is this driving force, which is impulse and intention. A disciplined person moves with intention, not based on impulse. They are both important. Impulse is about what you feel like doing now, while the intention is about what will benefit you in the long term. You're thinking about the long term. I want you to know that being disciplined is not a personality trait, it is a skill. Nobody was born disciplined. Every successful person you see, every disciplined person you see today was not born with that trait. They built it over time. They trained their brain to focus on repeating a particular pattern over time until it feels natural to them. The more they do it, the more their brain build pathways. That is why it looks effortless for some people, but it's not. They took the time to build it. It's not because they are stronger, it's because their brain has simply automated the behavior. Another thing is that you see it as suffering. When you hear you have to be disciplined, you think about restricting yourself from something, you think about ending something, you think about the stress of constricting yourself to a particular to something uncomfortable, or restricting yourself to something uncomfortable. And our bodies, we are wired for comfort. Nobody likes stress. Nobody likes to go through the hard way. Okay, so you see being disciplined as suffering. You see it as stress. So that is why it feels difficult. When you think about being disciplined, it feels difficult. And when you stop thinking about the act itself, but the result, it helps to rewire your brain from seeing it as a hard thing, from seeing it as suffering. Now, another thing is that your identity drives your discipline. We behave according to who we believe we are. If you think you're lazy or inconsistent, you would act that way. You would act lazy, you would be inconsistent. You would procrastinate. Whatever you believe in your head, whoever you believe you are in your head, your actions will match that identity. If you believe you're someone who shows up, you're someone who you don't disappoint yourself, you stick to the plan, you've told yourself that you are not going to stay in draining situations, you're not going to expose yourself to negative energies. When you walk away from that every time, there is a pathway in your brain that you are creating. You're not just acting, and before you know it, it becomes effortless. You don't have to force yourself. You don't have to start struggling to come out of that place, because over time you kept your word. You told yourself, I'm not going to take this, I'm not going to allow this kind of thing in my life, and each time it happened, you took yourself out of that situation. So in that moment, you were not trying to force yourself to come out. From the beginning, it might be difficult, but over time. So that is how you even build self-trust. Because say you are in a situation now and someone is trying to make you feel undervalued, someone is trying to make you feel less of yourself. You know that you don't want yourself in this kind of situation. So you're always able to easily walk away. In order to build discipline, you must have these three things. Clarity, first one. In order to build discipline, you must have clarity. You must know your what, why, and when. You must know what you need to do, why you're doing it, and when you need to do it. For me, I follow this pattern because it really helps me, and it has helped me build discipline over time. And it didn't even really occur to me until that conversation I was having with my friend, which made me realize that, oh, I really built self-trust. I really built so much trust in myself that there are some things that I don't even need to think or struggle to actually do. There are some things I don't need to struggle or like fight my emotions to actually do. So that is how you build discipline. Another thing is your environment. What are the things around you? What are the cues around you that are pushing you to show up, that are pushing you to walk away from negative situations? What are the things you put around you? Make your space clean, make your space motivating. I know that motivation wears off eventually, it's temporary, but it's still important. You need it. Design it to motivate you. Design it to always inspire you. And the third thing is to start small and repeat what you do. Start small. The reason why people struggle with discipline is because they have big goals and they are looking at that big goal. They are looking at that goal, that big goal. Okay, I want to make money. I just want to make money. I just want to have millions in my account. What is the very tiny thing you need to do today that takes you one step ahead? That is why we struggle. If you want to lose weight, what is that tiny thing you have to stop doing today? It could be walking past a pastry shop and saying no. It's as simple as that. The smallest things, those are the things that matter when it comes to discipline. The smallest things. Keeping to your word. Today, you wake up with that intention. Today, because this is my goal, this is the long-term goal I have. Today, I am not going to. Today, when I walk past a pastry shop, I'm not going to go in. When I wake up today, I'm going to skip for 5 minutes. It is about that day. Our focus is usually on the main goal. We fail to realize that the true building blocks are the tiny little things that we do every single day. Every time you break that promise, every time you wake up and you say, I'm going to do this today, and you break that promise, you are disappointing your inner child. That is how I feel. I feel like every time I say I'm going to do something and I don't do it, I am disappointing my inner child. It's like looking at a child who you said you are going to do something for. I don't know if it's just me, but you're looking at that child, and then how do you feel disappointing that child? How do you feel? It's even like a relationship or a friendship. A friend who doesn't show up, who says, oh, I'll do this, and they don't do it. You people have an appointment, you want to meet up, and they don't show up. How would you feel? You will never take them seriously. So that relationship, you also have it with yourself. You have that same relationship with yourself. So when you keep telling yourself, I'll show up, but you don't show up, you are silently breaking that trust in yourself. Every promise you keep to yourself builds trust in yourself, which is the very foundation of discipline, self-trust. Keep one tiny promise to yourself every single day. Don't make it big. Don't make it complicated. Disciplined people, they trust themselves more because they have results. They have a track record. So how do you build results if you are not taking those little steps every single day? That is how you build results. That is how you create a track record. Disciplined people, they trust themselves more because they have something to look back, which was what dawned on me when I was talking with my friend. I was like, over time, I realized that subconsciously I kept certain kind of promises to myself. Not all, I'm going to be honest. I kept some promises to myself, And I realized that over the years, I don't even have to struggle to meet up. When I make certain decisions or certain goals, I don't even have to start pushing myself, struggling to come out or to push myself to do something. If I say I'm going to leave, I'm going to walk away from certain situations, I don't need to struggle to do that. If I say I'm going to wake up and do this for myself, I don't need to struggle to do that. So yes, every time you keep a promise to yourself, your confidence in yourself grows. Now, why is self-trust when it comes to discipline so important? It builds resilience. It prevents shame from derailing you. It prevents that fear you have of failure because you're not scared to get back on track. Another thing is the compound effect. When you trust yourself, challenges become easier to handle. Challenges become easier to tackle. You're not scared. When something happens, you're like, oh, okay. And you bounce back. You always bounce back. Being disciplined is not about doing tasks. It is about becoming someone who keeps their word to themselves. It's about becoming someone who trusts themselves, who doesn't rely on motivation, willpower, fear, or you don't need any external validation. You don't need some sort of driving force. I mean, we all need God. We all need the help of other people, but you still need to trust yourself enough, because no matter how much help we get from other people, we can only take action when we actually decide to help ourselves. So it's not about just doing tasks. It is about becoming somebody who sticks to their words, becoming somebody who shows up for themselves. When you trust yourself, staying disciplined becomes automatic. It becomes sustainable and freeing. I hope this episode helped you. If it did, do well to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.